I hear about stories like this on the news, but this is her. Like, she lived it. This was her life.
After having a child and like being abandoned by someone you thought loved you, and going through war and like physical pain and hardship, and to like continue to have faith through all of that is something that I can't really imagine.
As I opened the letter, it began, "I'm alive. I, Medine Musunga, am alive."
When war started, I was in Brazzaville, and I remember that day I was getting ready to go to work. I took the bus and we came to a stop, and they said, "You cannot go further because there is shooting downtown and nothing is going." It was a civil war between the North and the South. People were fighting for who can rule the country.
They're humble, they're approachable, and they're normal. They're just regular people. They're defined by their humanity and their love for the Lord.
That's my phone. Okay, I'll pick it up.
I had no idea the depth of what Medine had lived through in Africa.
In September of 1989, I met her, and in my journal, I didn't write much. I just wrote that she was pretty. And what I eventually found was she was one of the most fired up witnesses on campus. I would share Christ with somebody, and they would say, "Oh, Medine Musunga, she told me the same thing." When Medine and I were apart, we were just friends. We were corresponding. We were interested in each other, but we were both kind of shy. So it took a few years for that interest to come up.
To know that I had an unborn child I needed to protect made me kind of a fierce type of person, where I was like, I have to do this. I gave birth in a period of it was quiet. There was no war yet where we were staying. But when David was about a month, we were under siege.
It's kind of a blessing that I don't remember some of these things because they're so traumatic. I just also feel really blessed to be able to be where I am now and have survived through that.
I almost lost David during war. Malaria was one thing, but also just malnutrition. We didn't have enough food. We were always hungry. We ate once a day. That was very, very difficult. We didn't have shoes. We walked a lot. Walking was just hard under scorching sun or pouring rain, all circumstances.
She sent me a letter one day saying, "I don't know if I'm going to live or die. My cousin has just been shot dead. My brother and father were nearly shot dead. The troops are closing in on our city. They have orders to kill, from what we've heard, the educated people first. So please pray for me." And that was the last I heard from her for 18 months.
There was no human help. There was no one we can count on. The only help we had was in God. So God will help us. That was like a motto, yes. Are we hungry? God will help us. Lord, please, we need food. Are we sick? God will help us. Please help us. So, yeah, it was a prayer. It was our prayer all the time. God will help. God help us. Yeah.
The thing that she's always telling me is that to love God and to pray. And I think that is just so rooted in her experience in Africa and during the war, because in like all those times, all she could really do is continue to love God and continue to pray. she's like a living testament to God's faithfulness.
I think her message about God's faithfulness in the midst of suffering is actually something that we need to hear, because any of us who live long enough are going to go through grief, we're going to go through hardship. She feels people's suffering, and she reaches out to them, and she doesn't let anything stop her from that.
Maybe we all do have a big story. When we're walking in a place of trust, when we're walking in a place of be still and know that I am God, then our outward circumstances don't define us. And so it's not about them and their story being big. It's about God is big and God is faithful.
What I started doing was going back through my journals, seeing the things that I felt the Lord had shown me about my wife. I went back through all of our old correspondence that I had and looked through the letters, and was so shocked at one point that I fell out of my chair because Medine fit.
I think I gained a better understanding of who God is, a better understanding of who my fellow human beings are, and just a better understanding of who I was and my walk with God. I thought I lost because I doubted, I cried, everything that we do. But when I look back, I don't know if I would say I lost. Probably I gained. But that's how I see it.